they're able to pull down, and it's everything out of your budget books. They're able to pull down the payroll information from their employees. They're able to pull down the information on capital, things they spent previous years, and then they can start to fill those items in. Then what they do once they've completed those, they'll upload those back to the cloud. That's when Art will then pull them down. He pulls them down, starts reviewing them to make sure what they put in makes sense, make sure it was accurately put in, they didn't put something in the wrong square or something not calculating right. And then Art will actually sit down with each of them and make sure that what he has, that he's downloaded, actually matches what they think they've submitted. So there's no decisions made, it's just gathering the information and making sure it's all as accurate as possible. Next thing from there, Art and I meet, and we go over what was presented, what he had actually uploaded, what he talked to the department heads about, and then he and I actually start discussing it, and then we start to meet. The next step is to meet individually with each of the departments. So Art and I meet with each department head and go over their budgets. When we're doing that, they're actually presenting to us being Art and I, why they put certain items in their budget. They're answering a Q&A, why they believe it's in there, and they're basically justifying what they put in the budget for the year, and then trying to look for, one of the things I start to look for is, okay, not only justify it, but how's it fit in the big picture? Not just with their department, but is this going to synergistically fit with the entire budget from what we're looking at? Then Art and I aim to request anything that we talk about, anything that they may have requested. They'll go back and they'll make any modifications and revisions to their departmental request. Again, that goes up and down through the cloud. From there, Art and I meet, we go over all the final requests that came in. When we review that, we go through each of those items to say, okay, what we requested, what they followed up with, it all makes sense now. From there, we start looking at overall, does it make sense including this, not including that, or do we need to consider asking some deeper questions to see if we leave it in or not? From there, Art starts putting all the pieces together, and when he does that, right, Sharon?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Art, Pete, and I, Art, Pete, and I will actually then sit and we review the budget holistically. Like each of the departments, we start looking at each of the components just to see if there's anything odd. The neat part about bringing Pete in last, he's seen none of it at this point. I've only seen the individual departments. I don't know how it collectively fits yet. Pete actually is able to sit down with Art and I, and we start going over it and go, whoa, what did this mean? He can look from a very distant standpoint and go, what the heck was that? Because sometimes when you're too close to something, you just miss it. So Pete does that overview with it. From there, all that final documentation gets pulled together. Art starts piecing it together. That's the time when we realize what the impact is going to have on the bottom line assessment. We have no idea what it is until we get to that state, because we've pulled some things out, put some things in, we've got justification. All those steps occur. Then we take a look at what happens to the assessment. After that, once we see what that number is, we make some decisions. If it's high, if it's low, if it's hit, wherever it hits, do we need to make any additional modifications before we finalize, put it all together, and then present it to you guys? Once we've made those decisions, it all gets buttoned up, gets put in the budget book, and then we get here today to present it. Anyone have any questions about that process? I thought it was important to go through it because sometimes people miss is, you're back into this, or you're changing it. No, we actually start with each department, and we start building the budget from there. Questions?
I have one question. Some things we do not know, for example, if the fire department, which might be with, of course, our budget for 2 years. How do you factor issues like this that are unknown, or do you just not?
No, we do. We actually, if you look at the budgets, we actually try to take all of those things into consideration, and then you have to make an assumption based on some of those factors. Every department's the same way. You're looking at how it's going to impact, so if we figure out what the medical costs are going to be, we're looking at the Affordable Care Act and how it may impact us. We've already put some tracking mechanisms in place, figure out, once you go over the 1,500 hours, how that impacts us. So we do all that through our budget. Yeah, absolutely, we have to. Now, again, keep in mind, it's not an exact science. It's a budget. You've got to make the best calculations you can based on the information available at this time. So it's a good question. And unfortunately, the Affordable Care Act is going to have an impact.
It's an unknown.
All right, some of the other things, execution, implementation. Some of the things that we that were high priorities, things that we really wanted to make sure we focused on when we built the budget this year. Obviously, the yacht club. Okay, between the yacht club and the pool, we're near a $5 million complex out there. Between the new facility that went in, obviously, with the new complex coming online, we need to be prepared to handle it, from business strategies to how we're going to manage it. One of our biggest focuses here, out of the gates, hiring the right people. We have to make sure that we get new players in where we had weak players, and then from there we're going to be training our team, bringing them up to understand it's a team concept. From the time you walk through that door till the time you get back in your car leaving, the experience has to be of quality, it has to be consistent. All those things are going into what we're focused on the yacht club. So our training needs, our staffing needs, and creating the team complex. The last piece, which is very, very critical for the yacht club this year, is marketing. We've got to market. We've got a number of things, and you're going to be provided in your books business cases for the yacht club. So you better see one of the big highlights we have, the marketing of it, overcoming some of the challenges of we're not open to the public. Some of the challenges of what hours are we operating, inconsistency of past service. All those things we took into consideration not only when we built the budget, but when we did the business case. The next one we looked at, golf. Now, some unique things about golf. Golf, Billy Casper actually has put together the business case for us. So I have that in the book. With that being said, bookings were up this year. Bookings being outside bookings, package play bookings. The feedback we were getting was very, very good. It's certainly the first part of last year didn't start so well because we're just getting push wrapped. But as June, July, and August started to pick up pace, we're getting a lot of very, very positive feedback from the packagers. Not only did I hear from John, I met with different packagers to get the information to see if what he was telling, to see if there's anything else we can add. We're getting some very, very positive feedback. Because the amount of investment we made in the course for the last 18 months, in addition to all the positive feedback and the momentum switch, we are recommending in the budget there are some increases in the fees for golf. And you'll see those in your budget. Racket sports, something you're going to see in your budget book. We took, traditionally we have a tab for tennis and tennis only. We looked at our 3 racket sports, okay, platform and pickle being the other 2. And we looked at how we created some opportunity where we would be able to expand and broaden our membership opportunity, reaching out to more of our members, our residents, to get them to participate in the activity. So what we did was we created 3 different elements under racket sports as opposed to just tennis. You're going to find when we did that, we've expanded offerings. We created a separate membership for pickleball. We increased some of the fees for platform. And that combined effort actually brought it bottom line for the racket sports more effectively because meeting with Dave Marshall, who's been our ongoing management company down there, with the recommendation from the tennis folks to continue using them. What was really neat is he's managed areas where they've had multiple racket sports. So in speaking with him, managing all 3 work. They know how to work it. They know how to schedule and those when courts are used at the best times. So that worked out extremely well. So that's what our change in our budget this year is incorporating all 3, and we did a separate column for each. The reason that's important is for tracking purposes. We can see what's working and what's not working. Okay, another big emphasis, and Jack, I'm hoping you see this one in particular. Big issue we've been talking about is drainage. It's been something we've been talking about for years. We've made some investments into drainage from modifying pipes to changing slopes to we've made some investments around the golf course where we spent a lot of money, almost $1.5 million in the last year and a half, 11 and 12, Hingham Lane. So we're making the investments. What we did was based on what I was hearing not only from the membership but certainly from the board, getting more serious about drainage. What we did, add to the budget under the Public Works team, we have a separate 4-person drainage crew. All they're going to be dedicated to 365 days a year is drainage. When I say drainage, it's basically the ditches, keeping them flowing, keeping the leaves out of them, keeping the pipes clear, any of those things that need to be addressed. That's all they do. They won't be pulled off for other work orders. If something comes up to plow snow or one of these other items, none of those things. They will be primarily focused with their everyday efforts to drainage. big change, but we felt it was important given the feedback we had.
New hires?
4.
New hires?
4.
New hires? New
Yes.
hires?
Yes.
Okay.
4 new hires.
Okay.
And they're in the book. Other. Because that impacts the drain. Leaf removal has a significant impact to the flow of the water. So that's why I make sure I included it, because
guys.
yeah. Now that doesn't mean we won't assign other. Well, as you may or may not know, we actually leased a truck from Ocean City, a trash truck. That was something we put in 2 years ago to help collect the bag leaves. We also have the leaf vac. We actually have the old one that's not working so great, but we bought a new one 2 years ago, and that one works well. So both of those are all employees. So we won't change the fact we'll have those crews out doing that in the fall. We're saying is year-round, we're going to have a specific crew focus on drainage, leaves, any of those type of things. We will assign other people based on rain events, leaf removal, those type of things. Another area that we paid particular attention to in the budget was overall marketing of the association. It's one thing we heard throughout the year last year. I heard it from several board members. And finding a way to increase our marketing efforts, finding a way to get us out there more frequently, expanding the services we offer and getting that information out. So what we've done is we've added a part-time person into our marketing budget to accommodate for that. We're hoping that not only increases the awareness, but improves the overall image of the community, because we can be more proactive and responsive to community inquiries, needs, those type of things.
Website, PR.
They'll be working in the marketing department. They'll do a little bit of everything. Teresa actually does a good job having different people take some of their skills. Someone might be working on creating a PowerPoint for the website, or a PowerPoint for 78, or the slide presentation. So it's really we're just expanding a part-time person in there to get more hands in on marking somewhere. Budget books. There's going to be comparative summaries in the front. Yeah.
You're raising titles. So I have a question. What is the assumption about our business relationship with cash? Is it a high level? What is the business assumption? Steady state?
Business assumption is the board will extend the contract for the budget.
As it. I want to make sure.
I can't hear what you're saying, Tom.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
It's important. That's okay.
No, I'm sorry.
No, that's right.
My question was, what are the business assumptions that were made in relationship to the Casper contract? And the assumptions underlying the business case budget are that the Casper relationship would continue based on the business relationship that exists today.
What period of time? For how?
We don't obviously throughout this budget. So,
1 year.
Well, I don't know if it's for
The budget's only for a year, so it's for this year. We're assuming Casper's still with us
1 year.
for this year.
At least this year.
Yes.
At
I
least
can only
this
build a budget for 1 year.
I
So yes.
1 year. I'm Roger that.
All right. And the other question I had was IT.
Yes. The IT position, HR position are both still in the budget. Thank you. Did not.
Those were my only questions. Any other questions?
Is there any assistance?
There is not. There is not. We put what our focus was from a high level. When you're looking at one of the directives or one of the things that the board wanted to consider was assistant manager. But the fact of the matter, the biggest issue we had is drainage. So we felt it was more important to focus on the drainage, i.e. drainage. Again, it's a proposed budget. You all can decide what you want to do there.
Well, we've been talking a lot about our we had previously talked about the HR position budget about having that person be available to do other things other than HR and an assistant for HR position.
There is.
I guess it's
Yeah,
It's just not filled yet.
Yeah, it's still in. Well, no, it's just still in there.
It's still there. It's just hasn't been filled. Okay. And each of the tabs, selected department departments actually have business cases in there. The three primaries are going to be the yacht club, golf course, and aquatics. The reserve tab, as usual, and the capital tab are in there. Some of the other elements, membership fee increases. There were some areas that you'll find some increases. Golf, we had an increase. I talked about that a little bit based on the investment made, based on the fact we think we're going to start to see some returns on that investment this year. The product's very good. We went ahead and made some increases there. Racket sports, the three different, between tennis, we made some modifications to the afternoon membership, and that was actually with direction from them. We added pickleball membership as a separate membership item, and we expanded some of the other membership types, all under the racket sports. Beach club parking, we had not had an increase since 2010, so we went ahead and made a modest increase to that this year. Marina slip fees, we had had no increases in the marina slip fees since 2010, so we made a modest increase in those as well. We did keep the 5-year capital improvement plan is remaining in the budget. Understand there is no increase to that this year. We've hit that point now where it stays the same. Those funds are used for some of our major capital projects. That's how we budgeted with some of the projects, i.e. the yacht club that's underway. So we've maintained that. That is still in the budget, but we did not increase that dollar amount this year. Again, I talked about the business cases that are in there, the three that are in there, aquatics, yacht club, and golf. I understand golf provided theirs. BCG actually did that for us. The summaries include, and they're not just limited to, you'll find other items, but general description, SWOT analysis, marketing and sales strategies, critical success factors, and then summary for each. Just to highlight a couple of proposed changes, the drainage crew, we added it. It's under Public Works, so when you go in there, that's where you'll see an increase. Management, one of the things it doesn't really have an impact budgetarily, but I want to make sure I brought it up. One of the things is we're aligning the marina under the yacht club manager. Purpose for that, part of the new yacht club building, that first floor, right-hand side, water side, is actually the dock master, harbor master's area. So we've included that. Reorganization, we've talked about the tennis, the pickle, and the platform all being into one. However, we are tracking them separately. And if you'll notice in your book, when you get to your tabs, even though we put the yacht club under the marina under the yacht club of the management, it's still separate. We're not buying them to change the bottom line for the yacht club. It's just being managed here.
So revenue.
Marina stays at the marina.
Stays at the marina.
tab.
Okay,
Yes.
that's what I meant.
So we didn't combine them for any other reason, just a management strategy. For those that don't remember, it's hard when you have so many moving parts. I want to make sure I point it out. Operating departments, police, fire, EMS, public works, admin, which includes myself, finance, membership, marketing, recreation parks, CPI. They're all under operational or operating departments. Amenities, golf, yacht club, aquatics, tennis, beach club, beach parking, marinas, pools. They're all considered amenities. This was sort of where we ended up, bottom line for the year, for what we're proposing for this year. We've had selected items in the budget when we start to go through the budget items in more detail. Items increasing the assessment. Public Works, the 4-person drainage crew that you see in. Okay? Actually, in a way to mitigate some of the drainage issues, we built a crew in. Bottom line, it's approximately $25 to the assessment. Additional marketing expenses, the part-time person plus some other things we're doing, and it's all in your budget, is approximately $6. Additional net departmental expenses from all the rest is $2. So a total increase of $33. However, items decreasing are offsetting that increase this year. Amenities offset by 14. When you look at collectively how the amenities we have budgeted to perform, gives us $14 positive variance. Fire and EMS, when we look at the leveling year end, remember each year, part of our new plan is each year we go back and we true up all the numbers. Based on the true up, we're seeing a $20 reduction, and then police department, a $7 reduction. So that bottom line is a $41 to the positive for lowering of the assessment. So when you look at the first page there, this everything I'm showing you here from the operational side of the house, it's actually an $8 decrease in assessment dollars. Now, if you go, and remember, this is going to be broken down in your PPO and all your information front tab, but I want to break it down into something for an overview today.
Could you do me a favor, instead of using phrases like PPO and things, could you just spell it out for me? What is PPO?
Price per owner?
Okay. I just need that. I need to know that.
Sure. No, ask. I mean, that's what we're here. Yeah, no problem at all. So, but that'll be in the front of your book, but it shows you a breakdown of what each individual department, what I just gave you was a general overview based on the operational side.
For those who were not on the board a couple of years ago, the fire department and Ocean Pines put together an agreement on what the formula would be for establishing their budget year to year and how much money we put towards their capital and all of that. We formalized that, and so any adjustment to the dollars are affect that relationship. Everybody's happy with what these numbers are. As far as I know, that's where they're coming from. So it's not something you made up on your own. This came right out of the formula.
It comes right from them, the true up.
Right from the true up that we.
Correct.
True up.
At the end of the year, but with any budget,
True up.
okay, at the end, you just true it up. How much is?
I mean, okay, true ups means how much money did they say they needed, how much did they end up spending, and if they spent less than what they thought they needed, then it's a true up in that we withhold a certain amount of money, and if they ended up spending more than they thought they were going to spend, then we up the amount that they're paying. Right now, it's coming in our direction.
If they
It's a
spend more,
balance.
what's it called? True down?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's a balance.
It's a balancing. Yeah. It's a fair way of balancing the budgets with real numbers. Because at the end of the day, we use real budgeted, not budget, excuse me, real audited numbers to establish the money for the fire department. Okay.
Okay, so if you look at the capital, which is depreciation expense, increases the bottom line assessment by $7. Increase in new capital items that's throughout the rest of the budget is $6 to $13 increase from the capital side. Member benefit, $10 increase. I'm going to go into a little more detail on. Net decrease from operations, $8 from the other side. So if you add all those up, it comes to a total proposed assessment increase of $15. Compared to last year's number of $914, this year's proposal is $929. Okay? Now, let's talk a little bit about the $25 coupon. What we've designed in part of our major strategy for the yacht club this year is putting a coupon of some sort together. We kept going through it, coming up with the programs on how to make this work. We found this was pretty exciting and sort of the best way we felt to offer. If you, as a member, if you pay your assessment, you pay it on time, you're going to receive a $25 coupon to be used at the yacht club this year. So you have an increase of your assessment by $15, but we're offsetting it by the $25 coupon to be used anytime this year at the club. Yes, sir.
Will that be a coupon or will it be loaded on your membership?
Well, at this point, I'm not going to use the word coupon because Art wanted to beat me to death the other day. I want to load it on the cards, is what I'd like to do.
I know I asked, I can tell you, you can give me 30 coupons
And I
right now,
lose.
and I would never use
Our goal is to load it on the card. Okay? Well,
Use coupons. Think you can save a fortune. Marty's not going to keep any of them.
No, instead I'll be using my credit card in some other restaurant. That's not the goal.
the goal is to get it on
to
the card.
generate people in restaurants.
The goal would be to get it on the cards. The challenge is part of our infrastructure, our servers and alike, are just not in great shape. One of the things we're looking at now that we're rounding into after the first year and after the budgets are done, we're putting some proposals together to upgrade some of our infrastructure. Some of the no-fun stuff, just the hardware in the back office type, servers and those. To get the cards to work properly, you have to have good access. They have to be able to perform well. So that's where, Marty, I'd love to say we're going to load it to the card. And if you remember, last 2 years we pushed really, really hard. We got the magnetic strip and the barcode on the back for that purpose. As soon as we get the assessment, we could just load your card. You don't have to come in. You could go in and use it. redundancy with the backup actually holding up, so when you go in, you go to swipe, it actually works. And it's got to feed back up to our membership office and validate and back down. It only takes milliseconds if the system's working properly. So we are working towards that. It would be a goal to have it this year. At the latest, it'll be next year. We're looking at some of the technology right now to figure out how to make that work. Micros is a pretty robust system. I don't know if you recall, we use Micros as our front-end point-of-sale system for the food and beverage area. Computer-based system. It does a whole lot of things. Actually, Dave and I have a meeting with Micros in the next couple of weeks to look at some of these type of options, see how we might be able to feed into our membership cards.
We have discussed IT a lot, yes. So is there money in the budget to make some upgrades to our IT situation?
There are.
And where would that be under?
Administration.
Administration.
Okay, last thing I want to make sure I shared with you, the meetings coming up. BNF committee meetings start next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Be meeting with those folks, going over the budget. The board working sessions actually begin in February, the first week of February, go over the budgets. Board feedback would be at the very end of that particular week. And these were all right out of your schedules that we put together. I just wanted to make sure I put it back up on the board. And this is on the website for anybody that doesn't, if you forgot it or you just want to go look, it should be up on the website. Public hearing scheduled for Saturday the 15th at the community center, and that's where basically I've taken your feedback as a board, made any modifications or changes, then we present that to the general public. And then the very next weekend, the very next Saturday is when you all vote on the budget.
Or is your session budget and finance basically
Yes. Well, it'll be scheduled based on the different department heads and what their availability is going to be. Yeah, I've already talked to Dennis briefly about it. He doesn't care which order they're in. So we're going to work. I want to get these books out to you guys, and then this week we'll tighten up the schedule.
as soon as that's tightened up, so know within a range. You
Sure.
don't have to be on the minute, but within a range. Morning, I'll go in from
9 until 4 is what we have scheduled.
That's what I
The
wanted.
guests, our thoughts are we may be done by noon. We may take a quick lunch break, come in for an hour. When I was talking to Dennis about, I was just trying to figure out what's going to be the most flexible. So we plan and scheduled from 9 to 4, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so we have that availability.
This February 7th, the extra, where's that?
No, that's when you provide feedback to me based on what you've heard, based on your review, based on our reviews together. The board will say, okay, here are the changes we'd like to see made to the budget to be presented to the membership.
For that one?
That one was scheduled before original on my calendar, but I don't know if it still is.
Yes, I think it is.
And
I think it is 4.
is that here as well?
4
Here,
o'clock.
4 o'clock here.
It's 4 o'clock.
And the 3rd, 4th, and 5th are also 9, that 9 to 12.
For you all, the intent is to be here 9 to 12, but we can go as long as you want those days. Or we can do 9 to 10 for you if you like. Be done. That's what I had for you.
They do 9 to 4. How much I'll be here?
Can we ask a question about something? Yeah.
I'll give you an overview, sure.
I just, I was looking at the capital-based
CIP?
CIP, and I see here now this White Horse Park restaurant, which I don't see over here, and it's a chunk of money. And I don't know what, are we talking about the old trailer bathrooms at the craft?
If you look, there's a worksheet in there.
Okay.
A capital project worksheet gives a picture of them and everything.
If I remember correctly, the last time the Budget and Finance Committee met with department heads, and they sat on the table. We sat back here, didn't say a word. That's still the game plan?
That's their meeting, not ours. Listen in, it's fine. Give them their time. It also gives them time, the rest of them, to do some research. So they have more time this year than
Well, those meetings with Budget Finance Committee,
Recorded via the internet?
Just for-
Not typically. I mean, if the board wanted to direct that, we could.
question on just 10,000 questions. One of the issues around here for a long time has been complexity. As far as the levels of memberships, and, you know, had your eyes crossed on who's you got price and Friday. There's so much, especially in class. Has there been any changes in product mix that
The fee schedules, we've tried to look at cleaning up a little. There's still probably more robust or more, there's probably more to them than we'd like to see. But we did take feedback from aquatics and feedback from tennis in particular about modifying some of their fee structure recommendations, just to clean it up some.
again, I'm not looking for specifics. I just want to make sure that was on the radar.
Yeah, one of the neat parts with the new website is being able to manage those more effectively and have them out there under each department, as opposed to someone having to call in and someone's grabbed the phone, but they're not necessarily someone working at the membership desk, so they grab the training and they don't know where the rate is, that type of thing. So having it on the website is going to make it a lot easier and a lot more user-friendly for everybody.
Since we're talking aquatics, I just looked at the page. There is obviously like a business case.
Yes,
This is prepared by
me, working with the department.
the department. And in here will be spelled out if your recommendations for the splash park,
No.
or where would you find that?
That's not recommendations on a capital issue. They're recommendations on operation.
Operations, okay. So where would we find the capital? Oh,
The
here
capital
it is,
is-
capital expenses.
If you know, I'm not people the 5-year plan, plan,
Yes, yes.
her head and my stomach together.
Yeah, we're
Real
just,
case
we
going.
got
Too much information.
My neck.
Go ahead.
When you say facility, are we talking about new bathrooms or a
New
new?
bath, you should see a picture behind that.
I did.
That's a new
That just
structure.
connects to the existing.
New structure.
Are we going to build a new building for the pine crackers?
No. We're working on some options for that.
Okay. Well, then this is just bathrooms,
Just bathrooms. Correct.
or if there's no pine cracker building there. this
Well,
is
we've
just
got a
for
couple
the park?
options to park. Yeah, but
Yeah.
the park area gets extremely, a lot of people using it all the time. The bathrooms in that center section are very old, and we're having issues with on an ongoing basis. So we went ahead and put in the budget to replace those. Exact location, we could tear down the existing spot there and put it there, where it is now. We could move it over into the White Horse Park, just across, probably 75 yards back and off a little bit, where it would be back in the woods some. There's a couple places over there we've looked at, but again, it's all conceptual, and we know we're going to have to replace them in the near future based on the conditions. So a lot of those things to do with the Pioneer Craft Club.
Come on, wouldn't it?
Again, not everything is on every document. As you go through the budget, we identify any item that we see that we need to have, and we try to make sure we include it. It doesn't mean we won't forget something. I mean, you all may come up with something we're going through the budget and say, why didn't you include this? And we'll add it.
Last year, department heads made needs, wants, actually must-haves. Okay. And then the wish list out there. Do you have that wish list included here?
They're in the
Under
very back.
Stop sign, is that?
No stops.
there?
The stop signs seem to be very confusing, so we
Yeah, I was confused.
We thought it was easy, but what we did was we moved it to the back. Art created a different sheet of what was not included under the capital section. Yep, you're right on
Okay.
top.
Okay.
And it breaks it down.
Okay.
I'm going to ask another silly question about budget finance meetings. Does anybody take notes? Is there any?
Yes, I do minutes.
So somebody will have minutes.
And please understand, the budget and finance meetings, it's a regular committee meeting
I know.
doing their duties. So
Okay, so that does answer. Just a regular committee meeting, and somebody will take it.
yeah, whatever they do.
Yeah, it's important, and I didn't want.
What's wrong with putting it?
Well, we have cost involved, we have personnel hours involved, and quite frankly, it's a committee meeting. We don't typically record any committee meetings.
No,
So they're the three
I understand
reasons.
that.
As long as there are
But
minutes.
if the individual has a conflict, they can't attend. Assume that's where you're coming
Right,
from.
as long as somebody's taking minutes, just like they would have regular meeting, I want to make sure. Yeah, okay, that's fine, good.
I'm going to ask for Pete's got his hand up, and since it has something to do with Budget and Finance Committee. Pete?
Yeah, the intent is to put together a written report from the committee to the board.
Right, I know,
Yeah.
right.
Who writes the report?
It's written under the direction of the committee chair. It's the committee's function, responsibility. They chair the meetings. Board members do not participate in the meeting, and they will prepare for the board members a report. Board members can attend, but are not required to attend
Right
those
on.
meetings. But they'll put together a written report with all the recommendations and observations.
Dennis writes it, Jen. Dennis and with help from Gene, and they all put together
It'll be voluminous.
comprehensive report.
So, I'm sorry, I just want to be sure I'm clear. On the capital, page 3, those are the only items that have not been included in the budget for all the committees, needs and wants. Commissioner?
Most part, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, we didn't, again,
I'm saying like splash pad is
our departments don't, we really try to be careful what the requests are. The team does a very good job not reaching too high for certain. So trying to do reasonable budgeting and realistic with it, so.
we talked about lighting at one time for the ball fields. Is that
It's in there.
It's in there now.
Any other questions? Public comment.
Joe Reynolds, 84 Ward Down Road. I could probably get the book and look at it after you put it out in the lot. Just out of curiosity, what are you budgeting for profit and for losses beyond losses?
Uh, 97,823 in loss this year.
Four new hires for a full-time, essentially a department to keep ditches clean, bring police. Sounds like a bigger department than marketing and public relations is now. The IT position, how many years has that been in the budget now?
2?
This will be the third year?
No, second. It's in. Not since last year. It was in last year.
Just last year? And I assume, I hope we'll fill it this year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but say it's $30,000, $50,000, whatever it is. It was in the budget last year, and the person wasn't hired. That makes the bottom line look better because we didn't spend that budget money.
That would be a correct statement.
Well,
Yeah, but still, it still hits the bottom line.
As an association member, I think you ought to find another phrase for describing what department heads consider in submitting their budget. I don't like the idea of them submitting things to do as if there were no money, if money were no object. I mean, that's pretty far out.
I don't know if you picked up, I gave 3 categories, and we look at them, and then we have to make some rational decisions. But what I'm not going to do is limit people's creativity or thought process based on you limit what things we may be able to come up with. It's then up to us.
Money's always,
Again, I've built many budgets over the years, and if you do it this way, you get some of the widest and broadest thinking to meet the majority of our association members. Doesn't mean it always makes the budget, but I don't want to limit our intellectual capital of our folks thinking about different things to bring to the table. That's all.
like that, like cap.
I see visual.
The PPO.
You like that? So.
Are you applying for the IT
Or is
job?
that an IPC?
Are you interested in the IT job?
Not at all. You know, I've sat through a lot of these meetings, and this issue of marketing is interesting. I could probably show you videos beginning in 2004. Every year since 2004, these great debates is recorded. And prior generation, this generation, about marketing happens every year. But in the end, does anybody here believe that you really, since 2004 till today, that all this discussion on marketing has resulted in some big increase in awareness or sales or anything else?
Well, yeah, I can
after
actually.
10 years?
Yeah, I can give you some specific examples. The last 2 years, it might help. First, when we're recognized by the state for 3 of our primary market pieces, our activity guide, our farmers market guide, they go out and we're recognized by the state. So yes, as the award winners in the state against all our other peer groups, yes, I think that means it's a fact. Secondly,
No, it means the state recognized you. It means the paperwork that you sent them, they
it
like.
means, and again, you're from a different world. I'm giving you my answer. The second part would be when we say almost $36,000 producing our activity guides or our quarterly report because we're selling ads. So those marketing efforts work. That's a $36,000 savings directly to our membership. They don't have to pay it. That's occurred in the last couple.
Those are
Because
not
they
marketing.
off-sell.
Okay.
They were
You're
marketing
right. We're on
efforts.
different pages because you're not describing marketing. Well, you're describing the internal.
I'm sorry, marketing department puts those out. Those publications go out. So I do include that in marketing and PR for the organization.
How about bottom line as opposed to the state of Maryland? Somebody up there who looked at it thinks it's very nice plan, picture. What about the purpose of marketing is to influence the bottom line?
And reducing costs to the association members by $36,000.
That's selling ads.
That's Joe, you can debate marketing all day long. I'm giving you examples. You don't
Okay.
like my example.
Okay. Where can the association member view the yacht club business?
It will be uploaded on the website. Once we scan the rest of the documents in for this, it'll be part of the budget.
There is a business plan.
There's a business case, as I've stated, and I said in my presentation, is accompanied in the tabs with the book.
Okay. The only reason I ask is we've been talking about a business plan for the yacht club now 5 years ago.
And there was one created 3 years ago, and we did a business case last year, and we've done a business case again this year.
You
with
mean the
some
one that was copied off the internet?
Again, Joe, you aren't parse words and pick through things. I'm giving you the answer. You may not like it, but
It was copied off the internet.
No, sir. There were pieces drawn from the internet, but there's nothing wrong with doing research.
Bob, do I have to go through it again and send
No,
you a
actually,
copy
you
from
don't.
the internet, the copy you
You don't have to
presented
do
as
it
word for
I'm trying
word?
to answer your question. Next question, please.
Well, who's
Incredible.
I love it.
The
That's
Affordable
saying I
Care
love
Act, is that impacting OPA, all of OPA, just the fire department? Or?
All of ocean pines will be impacted by it.
Okay, so in what way? We have to change the coverage that we provide?
The final determination of how it's impacted, there's no employer out there that can tell you what it is. The government can tell you the impact. Everyone's wading through it. So we're doing the best we can to track our employees, the amount of time, the expense. So because I don't know if you're following, the rules keep changing and what they're allowing and not allowing. We're just tightening up our track efforts.
He was referring to things.
Well, he says it
No,
impacts
no,
all
About
of
both,
us.
I asked about both.
Overall, it impacts all of us.
The fire department issue, I can speak about. What happened was, as I said, the fellow board members, I not jokingly said only in America could we have this happen. The IRS has for now, made a ruling that if you are a volunteer in a volunteer fire department, regardless of where you are in this country, you are considered to be an employee of that volunteer fire department, and therefore you must be provided health care coverage. Fire departments across this country are up in arms over it because it makes no sense whatsoever.
It'll be
That's
corrected.
actually being
Well, but the
disputed.
problem is, Joe, they've had months and months and
Yeah.
months now to correct this.
That is
This isn't
being,
something that was just uncovered.
that's being disputed.
Yeah.
How about the little sisters at the poor end?
Yeah, yeah, right, exactly. So that's the fire department. So obviously, if in fact they don't change that rule, and they've had months now to change it, and I could get into the politics, but I won't. Obviously, this thing is being changed by fiat from executive branch. This could be changed overnight and fixed. For some reason, they haven't done it. If in fact they don't change that, then our fire department and everybody's fire department across the country is going to be faced with overhead nobody ever expected them to have. So it could very, very greatly affect. We've got a lot of very solid volunteers putting lots of hours who want no part of that ruling, but they don't seem to be listening at this
Well,
point.
what you described is the reason for discussion.
Well, yeah, but
Everyone would be talking
Mike,
about the fire.
Well,
I'm just sharing with you my personal situation.
Joe, you know, speaking as one who is completely mired
Right.
in the Affordable Health Care Act as we speak, the only thing that anybody, whether it be provider, group, anybody can do is just wake up in the morning and see what the rules of the day are. Just keep constantly up with what's going on and try to prepare the best you can because that's
Fluid
it
situation.
is completely.
Joe, is one of your questions, when does it impact the association as far as Obamacare and when?
So if
Do we-
OPA is under the extension for the act for larger employees, then it won't take any real impact until
Yeah.
Till the fall.
2015.
To when?
2015.
2015.
Oh, it was the fall of this year.
That's when the regulations will be set, but they won't
But, yes,
impact
it's
until
not-
2015. But actually, if you think about it, our budget goes in.
Yes, it does.
Right.
Yeah, part of, we think, we're in great
So
detail,
I just mentioned that. Yes.
and we're tracking, we're putting some tracking mechanisms in place with the exact hours for employees. We're doing a lot more tracking with our employees, not just through payroll, but through our health insurance provider. There's
Yeah,
a number of things we're doing to capture the information so we can make some decisions, because you're right, bridge into 15.
I'm very confident in a group that does OPA's healthcare. Wow, they're up and up. They know exactly.
Okay, and one final thing, with regard to marketing, the purpose of marketing is to increase sales, increase profit. Otherwise, people do it. Is there any way to put your collective heads together, come up with some way? I don't know how outside businesses do it. I'm assuming they must have some way to measure it, tracking, if you like to call it. What the return is on our marketing dollars. In other words, what is this marketing doing to our bottom line? Without knowing that, we're just floating around in the dark. I mean, we could spend $1
Now,
million.
you can't agree with that. At the bank we work for, we did many, many marketing efforts that you don't have a direct measurement.
Well, now there was.
I can agree with anything you say.
No, I know you. I did approved budgets for that. I know exactly what it is.
But still, you have, hold on. Still, you have dollars, numbers, whatever manager you are working for at any given point in time. You know, some guys emphasize the numbers, some guys emphasize. And he's right. I mean, there has to be some unit measurement. I don't know what the heck it would be.
Every marketing effort cannot put an exact dollar on return every time. Sometimes it's just raising awareness. And awareness goes a long way. And then you hope, now keep in mind, what's very different here, and I'm trying to explain it the last couple of years with budgets, we're very unique in this perspective. We have multiple business entities operating simultaneously. It's not like, fortunately, when we're at the bank, for example, we had a bank we were focused on. We're on 5 finance, we had one line of business. Here, we've got anything from our aquatics programming to our golf operations to our pools to the yacht club, multiples. So when we're trying to do marketing, and I would differ from what Joe Reynolds, respectfully, I differ from what he's saying. I think raising the awareness holistically does have an impact on and value the.
So, but shouldn't you have a measurement, to figure out how that was either a positive impact or a negative impact? Can you have a measurement of that?
Yes,
Other
ma'am.
than
Wait,
you think.
in between.
I might be able to help. You know, it's funny you said that because when we were sitting here, Teresa, I hope you don't have anything in your hands because you'll probably throw it at me. When Bob said we're going to add, in the budget is another half of an employee, I'm thinking to myself, what in God's name do we need another half marketing person? Teresa does a great job. She always has interns, yada, yada, yada. And I'm sitting here in my head trying, why we live here? Why do we need marketing? And then the big light bulb went off, and I thought, I live here. We have houses for sale here. I want to, at some point, maybe resell my house. Certainly I want good marketing. Ask Sharon, she'll tell you. That's what helps sell the houses here. And it saves your investment. Does that help?
The VA's not selling.
Yeah, well, let's understand another thing. There's another dynamic here that goes along with what you were just talking about. And we aren't just marketing for all of our dollars that go into the marketing department are not aimed at simply generating more dollars. They are also aimed at informing our membership and keeping people up to date on what's going on. The newsletters, the websites, all of those things are in place so that our members, running this video right now is not free. Putting it on the internet is not free. Doing what we do. Now, a few years ago, at one point they weren't taped and videotaped at all. Then they were videotaped. Now we're live streaming stuff on the internet for people to have access to. That's not free. Those kinds of things cost money. You've saved us money on some of the printing by selling advertising. The only thing I wanted to throw in the formula is that, yes, marketing is supposed to generate awareness. It is supposed to generate dollars. But it also, in our case, the entity that we are, it's information, it's access, it's keeping things up to date. We have a challenge to do that, and that falls under that budget.
I wasn't talking about public relations. We have a public marketing and public relations department.
But they're all in the
I
same budget,
addressed
are they?
marketing, not public.
But they're all in the same
Joe,
budget.
same
now.
If I may
I know
say
they are.
something.
I was
Okay.
addressing the marketing part.
Joe, there's a very nice piece that you, of course, have not seen because we just saw it now on weddings. And it's in color. It gives the sample menus, the prices. This is marketing. And it's beautifully done. I just saw it, not just looking while we're talking. So this is certainly one piece. There probably are more in here. I don't know. That's marketing, and that's going to have a direct effect upon any weddings that are. And of course, they're going to book weddings based upon the service they receive from the person when they pick up that phone. And I just had somebody tell me recently that's had a wedding here last week in May. They're scheduled. They had called 2 other places multiple times and never got a call back. And our parks person, David, got up with them immediately, met their needs and their wants. This is not a young couple. This is my age couple, friends. So, but they're having a 250-person wedding or 200-person wedding. It's a big wedding. And they could not speak higher of the service they received and the personalized attention they got. So that's what's going to sell us. It's going to be the Davids. It's going to be the people that work their committee, a part of that Ocean Pines team. And it's going to be things like this that we give them to look at. And then they can customize or not, whatever they choose to. That's definitely a market.
Okay. Anybody else?
Public comments?
Yes.
Joe, did I answer everything?
I want to make sure I didn't.
Thank you, Bob.
Pete Comstock, 417 Blue Water Court. I just want to add my voice. We use marketing in the tab just as marketing. That's very limiting terminology. It's marketing, public relations, member communications, as Tom Terry just said. That's what I was trying to say earlier. It's far broader than just marketing. It's member communications in very large part.
Anybody else?
Sales.
How about investor relations? Investor
That's good
relations.
too. That's
Media
That's
question.
included in this.
We have no investment.
We have shareholders.
Good, Mark.
Not me.
No, you're not. I didn't see any hands go up. So
You usually get
hold on, wait, hold on.
So I was just trying to find out when the when you have back.
Lobby will be a couple days. Yeah, a day or two, Sheila. By Wednesday.
By Wednesday.
What is
No, I mean, what's your deadline?
by Wednesday?
I'm
She always got a, yeah, she always got a deadline.
By Wednesday. It'll be out. They'll be in the lobby.
Next
Thursday deadline.
I used to get executives.
She has a Thursday deadline.
Are we going to get a copy of that?
You will, and you'll have an
She
executive
asks
summary
that
by the end of the
question
week.
every
This is
time.
probably covered.
Yeah, no,
But on page 3 of parking, it's a great breakdown where the money comes from, but it doesn't tell me how much of parking.
What?
I mean, I'm wondering,
that's again.
That's in the
It's a
membership.
separate sheet.
it is in the
Separate
membership
sheet.
section?
Yep. All cubes.
Okay.
So we have questions. We're calling you, Art. Got all the answers.
Right, you really should review the book, and then when we do our meeting, have your questions. Because we actually,
Well, where is it? Page 3. You do.
Okay, we'll take a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Have a second?
One of us.
One of you.
So, all I want to do